Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another power-packed Tea Time Talks. Three chefs, three mavericks in the kitchen. They come from three different decades, three different styles and career paths, but they're bound together by common love for food and enterprise. I'm so honored to welcome you all to my show, Chef Abhijit Saha, Chef Tarun Sibal, and Chef John Biswas. I know you all have had a turbulent year, but that's the whole idea today, looking back, reflecting, learning, and unlearning from the past. My first guest today is Chef Abhijit Saha, the founder and managing director, Ace Hospitality and Consulting. He has been recognized and featured in the list of 50 most influential people in Bangalore by DNA and 100 most influential people in Bangalore by Times of India, top food entrepreneurs by Restaurant India, and many more such accolades. The coach and mentor of Team India for Bocuse d'Or Asia Pacific 2018, guest judge of MasterChef India, and judge of Young Chefs Olympiad. If I continue reading all these accolades, it'll be a long list, but I'll let him describe his career. Regarded fondly as the forever young chef, he enjoys Formula One racing, wines, travel, architecture, design, and photography. My second guest, John Biswas, Chef John Biswas, has over 2 decades of work experience across Middle East, Bermuda, Africa, and in India. He's known for his creativity and flair. An alumni of IHM Kolkata, he loves engaging in cricket and spending time with stray dogs in his free time. But focusing on the pandemic, I must say he's had one of the most adventurous years. Every time I would ping him to know where he was in a different city. But survive he did, and he's back in Hyderabad, and we are so happy to have him back. Welcome, Chef John. And the third chef is Chef Tarun Sibal. I would say he is a prodigy, 18 years of experience as a product specialist, having core competence in food and beverage category across production, operations, formats, food heritage, and food and liquid culture. He's also from IHM Pusa, my college, but I would like to clarify that my vintage is closer to Chef Abhijit Saha. I have been to some of the restaurants Tarun has created, and the last being Titli in Goa. And let me tell you, I was totally blown away. Of course, with Chef Abhijit, I started working. The first job was with Chef Abhijit in the kitchen at the Orient Express, and I was in F&B. Otherwise, I've been to his beautiful outlets in Bangalore, Capeberry and Fava. We'll be talking all about these. So let me welcome you all formally. Chef Abhijit, starting with you, when you look back at all these years, what are the best memories of being a chef?
See, it's a very difficult question to answer, because we've had so many. But I think some of the most interesting memories have been, great interaction with customers and guests at the restaurant. So that stays in your memory for a long time. Mm-hmm. Of course, you obviously receive accolades and all of that. That is all good. But one of the most exciting part was, representing Team India at Bocuse d'Or Asia Pacific in 2018 as the coach and mentor. And that was the first time we won. Capeberry represented India that time, and we won the medal for the best dish on a platter for the first time in the history of the competition in 30 years. So that was the first time for India. And of course, opening the first restaurant, Capeberry. And even more than that, writing the Capeberry cookbook, which took me more than 4 years to write. Obviously, you're busy with restaurants and other things while you are trying to also simultaneously write the book. So although not continuously, but it took me 4 years to write the book. And I think these are some of the things that, which will remain very memorable as far as I'm concerned in my career as a chef, restaurateur, and now as a food consultant as well.
Right. Chef Tarun, if you could tell us, if you could take us through your entire journey so far, where all have you worked and how have you reached where you have reached?
Well, I'm still working, and that's the idea, to keep working, keep moving forward, no matter what life throws at you. But it's been 18 to 20 odd years of professional work, and I come from a food pedigree. I come from a gene pool of food entrepreneurs. So I'm a third generation caterer, and that's what I'm actually part of a first catering family of Delhi. So it was very early in my life cycle. I chose this path, that this is what I want to do. And I started as a chef and then ventured into a lot of other things, but strictly remained focused on food and beverage, but other departments like marketing, sales, PR, strategy work. And in 2015, when I turned entrepreneur, I came back to food, back to hardcore operations, and wore the chef coat again. And it's such a powerful thing. I still remember that feeling when I wore my chef jacket again. It was very overwhelming. But yeah, 2015 to 2021, and now have opened at least 15 restaurants for other people, and three of them I opened it for myself. There's Cafe Staybook that I opened in Gurgaon in the year 2017, followed by Street Stories in Indiranagar, which is a vegetarian craft kitchen, and has got a lot of love from the audience in Bangalore. And I'm sure Chef Abhijit would also has been a part of, has been my guest there. And latest being Titli, which was opened in 2019, and then the pandemic struck. All across, and as I say, it's been a roller coaster ride. I love every part of it, and looking forward to more stories to tell. Looking forward to more restaurants. Looking forward to all the mayhem. Looking forward to all the love.
Okay. Now, coming to Chef John, I have done some wonderful events with Chef John, and he always exceeded my expectations, whether it was healthy menu or it was a Polynesian menu, as unique as that. Chef John, if you could take us through your career path so far.
Yeah, my uncle used to be a chef. He has a vast experience in Middle East. From there, I got the inspiration. Also, I knew if I wanted to always travel and discover more places. So I knew this profession would allow me to meet a lot of people, know their culture and travel. So that was the main reason why I wanted to be a chef. And of course, so that helped me in my initial career. I actually started my career working for a small restaurant in Mumbai. It's called Athena Chateau in Delhi. It's now no more operating. It was owned by Mushe Sheikh. We must know him. And then I moved to Middle East. So my career is more over with the hotels, to do with all the hotels, opening restaurants, moving from one chain to the other, learning different cuisines. That's how my culinary journey began, and then eventually I came back to India and started working in leading hotels in India in different cities. Actually, this pandemic gave me a great opportunity to try the other segments of F&B industry. That's how my career is on.
Great. So how important it is to step out of your comfort zone? Because I see all of you have gone to a different city, set up base there, set up restaurants all over the world. How important it is, starting with Chef Abhijit?
See, I think, travel is an essential part of life. And I think that if you're not traveling, you're not doing justice to life. Mm-hmm. So for me, traveling for food is something that is an integral part which I enjoy in my profession the most, one of the most important aspects, because it's a learning experience. Because the more you travel, the more you go to different places, you learn about cultures, and the best way to learn about cultures is through the food. So I think that, for me to come from Delhi to go to Bangalore, and then come to Bangalore from Delhi, and then, set up restaurant in Singapore, these are all very exciting and very amazing experiences, which we should be grateful for, because we are in an industry which allows us to, do these things which we love to do sometime. And, it adds that variety or the spice to the, sometimes to the hard work that we need to do. So when you travel, that is what, enriches you, gives you so much of joy. And I always take extra days when I travel. So for me, that is one of the best perks of being a chef so far.
Okay. Chef John, could you recollect any particular memory in your entire career that is very, very dear to you?
Yeah, I remember this guest back in 2005. It was initial years of my career where I used to work in order dining restaurant and used to do night shifts. So I met this elderly couple from Germany in over X station. I used to be a X station chef because normally when you do a night shift, you work in X station. That's the format in order dining in hotels.
Yes.
So you speak with a lot of guests where you come to know about them, you discover, you share your common space there where you get connected with each other. So I was very close with them. They used to call me, used to address me and call me and greet me in the morning. I used to also speak with them, found out their preferences. His name was Mr. Paul, late Mr. Paul. He was from Germany, an Indian guy, a Bengali guy, but well settled in Germany. And he was the first person to call me my son, Little John, and there where I got the name in the industry, Little John.
Okay.
A lot of people used to address me in that name. I became quite popular in the hotel. That was one thing. And when the guests left, when they left, their vacation was over. A letter came from Germany to the hotel, and a picture clicked with me and him in the station. I never expected that would happen from a guest to me. I think that is my memory forever, and I still carry with me all over wherever I travel and wherever I go. That letter and that picture is always with me. And whenever I feel down or depressed, I just look back to the letter, read this letter, and see, look, this is what I'm working, and I'm working for this customers that would come back for the great food and the experience that I've given. So that's a very I was touched, and it's a memory that I will cherish my entire life.
Sure. Chef Tarun, how did a Delhi ka munda end up in Goa and set up one of the swankiest place there? I mean, obviously you stepped out of your comfort zone. So first of all, tell me what inspired you to be a chef and what inspired you to try out all these different things you've done?
Well, the first one is very easy. I still remember even in my 10th grade, I wanted to be a chef, and was very clear. There's nothing that I want to do other than being in a kitchen or other than being in the F&B industry. I wanted to start as a chef and then learn other aspects of the industry and become an entrepreneur. So it was a very well laid out plan. And I'm absolutely was fairly bully on the fact that this is what I want to do. Why Goa? Why not Goa? Goa has always been on the radar. You travel, you do a lot of vacations in Goa. It's like it's your boys' trip, it's your weekend getaway. And surprisingly, I had Titli in my laptop for almost a year. It was actually envisaged for the southeast coast of Sri Lanka, and things really didn't materialize there. But when I saw the spot that we are, and I got a call from my brother-in-law that, okay, we've got this space, can you come in and have a look? And as soon as I stepped into that property, it was a completely different landscape. It was almost in ruins. But I saw that place and I told my brother-in-law, you know what, this is Titli. And he said, what do you mean by that? And then I gave him the entire download of what Titli meant to me and how would I want to conceive this space into this restaurant that is lazy in the day and very eclectic in the evening, and hence from a caterpillar to a full-blown futter in the night. So you as a consumer would be in your sarong or having gin and tonic in your flip-flops. And when you come back in the night, you'll be in the little black dress, you'll have a Negroni or a whiskey sour. So that was the storyboard. And I think we managed to pull that off. And thanks to everybody who's been a part of Titli and all my guests, all my consumers who've given us a lot of love. So yeah, that's how brand building, or that's how storytelling is done by chefs. We think of something and then we put it on the canvas.
Excellent. Chef Saha, you have also created some iconic restaurants and at times let go of them also at the right time. So do you think restaurants have a shelf life, and how difficult it is to let go of a place you have created with blood, sweat, and tears? Or you feel that, there's always growth in everything?
So I do believe that in today's world, restaurants do have a shelf life. But there are restaurants which have been even created recently and have become icons, and they have been continuing forever. So basically, I think that more and more the restaurants are moving towards having a shorter shelf life, and you have to move with the times and also move with concepts and bring about a lot of change, because the customers get bored and tired in today's generation because of going to the same old place. Though there has to be, when you bring about that change, there has to be some connection to the past if you want to continue with the same theme successfully. And I even now know restaurants that were created in the last 20 years, which are still running. And I'm not talking about restaurants which were 50 years old or 40 years old. So and it is a painful process, because I think that when you set up a restaurant, there is a lot more than just crockery, cutlery, and food that goes into it. There's a lot of heart and soul that goes into it.
Yeah.
And you see it as an extension of yourself, your personality. So you may say that when a restaurant of yours closes, a part of you also dies with that. So that is something I do get emotional about at times. But I think that we have to be more pragmatic, and we have to be more practical in today's world. And we must understand that, things do have a shelf life, and including restaurant. And we should learn how to move on, how to adapt with times, and how to see that, how the old order changes, yielding place to the new. So that is how things are. But I don't believe that, that if you are of a particular age, you cannot transform to the next generation what the next generation is looking for. I think you have to use your experience in the right manner to stay in the top of the game and understand what the new things people are looking for. What is it that you can bring that is unique to the customers? Because see, ultimately the restaurant is not just about dining. It is about bringing joy to some people's life. Those who come there, they celebrate so many occasions. They have memories of that place, because that is what they keep writing to me and telling me that we had this birthday there, we had this anniversary, our children were going off to America for studies. So the last thing that they said, that what they wanted to do before going was to dine at Cape or Fava or whatever it was. And I still get calls from Singapore that when are you coming back again? Why did you shut down here? So these are things that are unbelievable. And I think this is what makes all the the blood, sweat, and the hard work worthwhile for having a restaurant and going. But I do believe that restaurants now have a shelf life.
Great. And I'm so glad that Capability lives as the Capability cookbook now. And I can't wait to get my hands on it.
We'll send you a copy, yeah.
It was a great move. And having dined there, I mean, it would be a pleasure to try out those recipes. Now, coming to Chef John again, how has life been after the breakout of pandemic for you? How did it affect you personally? Because we just can't hide from the situation right now we all are in. It has affected all of us. So if you could tell us.
Of course, the hospitality industry was on a shutdown, right? So a lot of us were laid off, but we have, especially me personally, I have taken the full advantage of the time. I could rediscover myself, work out on what I want to do. What was worrying was what is going to happen next. So I started keep talking with people, calling people, understand what they are doing, take inspiration from them. When you talk, you call and you speak, you understand what's happening on the other side. So that keep on motivating me. Of course, I was in love with the stray dogs. I could spend some time over there to relax, to unbound myself. Then I was been in touch, and that's how I actually got engaged. I was not free in pandemic also. As you said, I was traveling from city to city. In June, I went to Mumbai for a short project when people were not traveling, scared. So I took a risk, because if I don't take a risk, I don't know. I mean, I would not get that opportunity. So I took a
The
risk from
matter of
Hyderabad.
survival, wasn't it? We had to
Yeah,
go
it was,
whatever they
but my family was shocked. They were saying, why you want to leave Hyderabad and suddenly you want to go to Mumbai? I said, see, sitting idle at home would not make things progress. I mean, I just took a risk. That time the flights were allowed, so I was there for a month. Came back. Again, that helped me. That helped me because I went to Mumbai. That helped me. That connection, that network helped me to do another 3 months project back in Hyderabad. And so that kept me move on.
How
So
was the
me, it was,
Dhaka experience?
yeah, then at the end of the year, I went back to Kolkata, and then from there, I went to Dhaka. Dhaka, see, the culture was expected because I'm a Bengali from Calcutta, right? So the culture was more or less same, but there is a little bit difference with the infrastructure. The market has a big hunger for new FMB ventures, that is for sure. We can do a lot in Dhaka in terms of FMB because the market is open, it's coming up, it's growing. So that is one thing for sure. If you do something good there, people will like it and people will take it.
Any
So the
new skills
opportunity is
you
there.
picked up there? Because
Yeah.
for a chef, every new place is, something.
Exactly. So see, the reason why I became a chef is I wanted to travel. So that's the reason. Even if I got opportunity when the pandemic was a little bit released, I took the opportunity. I took the risk and I travel. I said, no, I want to go and see what's happening. Unless and until I go and see, I mean, I will never know. So that was quite interesting. That's what makes me move on in pandemic.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Tarun, how did you keep yourself busy and occupied during the pandemic? I see you've been spouting a lot of poetry on Instagram, and the quality of your videos has gone like through the roof.
So I got back to a lot of things that I forgot that I used to like. One of them was poetry. I started listening to a lot of music. But before that, there was at least 100 team members that I had to take care of. So ensuring that their livelihoods and lives are taken care of. Because when we locked down for the first time, it was in a harakiri. We were just told that you have to close the restaurants, and there was a lot of chaos that happened. So between my team in Goa, in Bangalore, and in Delhi, we had to take care of around 100 people. And once that settled down, it was then that I started using a lot of my time for creative pursuits. Did 2 new menus because when we opened Titli, it was a completely fresh menu. Had to sit back on the drawing board. Also figured out a couple of new concepts that when things are going to be nice, there'll be two concepts ready to plug and play. But yeah, I started giving a lot of time to myself. Again, back to things that I used to love, which I almost forgot. And Instagram helps. It's a visual medium. It lets you stay connected with your friends, with people who are like-minded. Also, it gives you a global commune. So thanks to social media, it ensured that you have something to say and someone is hearing you too.
So, it is also important to keep the cash registers rolling. So, did you adapt to the delivery model, which everybody is talking about, because that was the only option?
Well, actually, I sat this one out because across my restaurants, barring Street Stories in Bangalore, which we were a full focused delivery push that we did, and thankfully it paid dividend. Titli was completely closed because the food there is not delivery worthy, in the sense that I can't do justice to the food that I do there in a delivery module. So we sat that one out. And so was the case with Delhi. The restaurants was closed, the catering operation was closed. And the idea was to sit this one out, let it pass through. And then I always felt that sometimes the right thing to do is to do nothing and wait for things to change. But as I said, in Bangalore, there was a complete push. And it was actually the first market that opened. I remember traveling to Bangalore in June last year. And I was so happy because I was going back to the kitchen and moving into, and I used to tell the team, irrespective of the fact that we get 1 table a day, that 1 table will be so critical for our success. It will be so important. Make sure that somebody has full trust in coming to us and dining with us. We're going to pamper them. And I was so happy going back to Bangalore and seeing that there is a jalebi wala frying jalebis on the street, and there are the people also who trying to buy that, which was not the case in Delhi.
That's so nice to know. Chef Abhijit, you're a believer and practitioner of sustainable dining. And can you give us some quick sustainable mantras, and also taking the broader picture, like how do you see F&B industry surviving this slum and the future of the industry?
So for me, before that, I'll talk to you a little bit about my transition. Obviously, I closed my restaurants. The restaurants that I consult for, some of them even flourished, like the Pizza Bakery. They went from one restaurant to five during the lockdown, in the first lockdown. Today, they have five outlets in Bangalore. So it was one of the first restaurants in the country to do sourdough pizzas. So that is what became very, very popular. And, people, they love it. So that is point number one. And then, for me, the transition was very good because, first of all the team members, we were able to settle for them everything, and they all got re-employed in different places as soon as the lockdown opened. So they were highly in demand, and that was very useful. And then, of course, for me, I got the opportunity to redefine. I got a call even before we had closed our restaurants, approximately 2 years ago. I got a call from the Bangalore airport management to, recreate the vision for the future of food in the airport. As you know, the Terminal 2 is also coming up, which is going to be a airport in a garden. So basically, to redefine the sustainable as to the vision of the food, there were 2-3 key words that we tried to incorporate as our philosophy, as our fundamental philosophy. One was sustainability. Sustainability meant in terms of sustainable dining, sustainable food procurement, and all of that, and many things. Second was wellness. That was very important in terms of today. No longer are people only looking for eating food just to fill themselves up. If they have the opportunity of choice between having food that is also good for their health and equally tasty, they will prefer the one that is this thing than over junk food. So particularly when you're traveling, you want to be very careful about what you're eating, because you don't want to fall sick and you want to stay healthy to make the most out of your travel. So that is how we redefine the philosophy. And there's a lot that we are doing at the airport. So the Terminal 1 is being completely renovated. Terminal 2 is absolutely new. There's a lot of miracles that we're going to do there, and dramatic changes. And of course, we have taken the initiative which was launched, which has been there for a while, but it is now launched in a formal manner, is basically to do what you call is vertical farming or urban farming at the airport. So that's going to be something that is going to be really keeping me busy and excited. And it was also time for me to recalibrate myself with the family, spend a little more time with the family. But then there are other projects also which I did. So primarily now I work as a food service and a kitchen consultant. So I also do facility planning because I studied food service technology and design in the US in Johnson & Wales University. So that gives me the additional opportunity of doing the larger spectrum of work. So if you talk about the airport, I am involved in this larger vision to the smaller detailing of quality management and food safety and design.
Sounds really great.
Food, the future of food and restaurant is never going to be the same what was in the past. So as chef, we must become very mindful and attentive of what we are doing in terms of sustainable practices. Make sure our menus are well curated in terms of seasonality, in terms of local, in terms of farm to folk, supporting farmers, and all of that. It is a community thing. It is no longer just a place to entertain or dine out. It's more of a supporting structure for a community that you're building around it. And I think the menus have to go shorter, and menus have to be fresher. And as one thing was very important in India, we never paid as much importance to hygiene and food safety as we have started during the pandemic. And that is what is become a lot of this thing, because in the airports, it is the most is the area where you have to be most fussy about all these things. So that is something that we have imbibed, and we have learned over a period of time. And I think that many of us as restaurateurs, chefs, are also beginning to learn the importance of hygiene and food safety, as far as, making sure that we are winning the trusts of our customers, and that is what it is. Innovation will always play an important role. So there is no doubt about that, you have to innovate from time to time, and also make sure that, you give your customers what they like, besides, creating a demand for a new type of dining experience.
Excellent.
That's a great message, Chef.
I think
World Food
the
Safety Day
idea
is on 7th of June. Sorry, I just interrupted.
Thank you.
So
Thank
to
you.
reinvent yourself is the mantra. Chef John, I would like to ask you that since the time you joined the industry, the role of a chef has undergone a sea change. How do you see this change, from what was expected of a chef 20 years ago to what is expected today?
Right. There's a big change. I mean, Chef Abhijit also could relate when the industry 30 years back or 20 years back. Chef used to be behind the walls, only in the kitchen, cooking food, preparing food, and there was not much interaction. You never knew the face of the chef. You didn't knew the food might be great, but the compliments goes to the restaurant manager. You will the back of the staff or back house of the staff
Chef used to come
never
when there was
efficient.
a complaint.
Yeah, exactly. If there is a complaint, you can see the chef's face. But nowadays it has changed 360-degree. Our restaurant is known by the chef. It's all chef-driven outlets nowadays.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the first call you get if a customer is coming, the call to the chef. But I'm coming, you book my table. That's what has a change from chef nowhere to chef everywhere. I think that's a huge change.
So, Chef Tarun, does it put more strain on a chef to be so multifaceted and to handle all these areas together? I mean, I would like you to give tips to young aspiring chefs stepping out of colleges this year. For one, the industry is so gloomy right now. It looks gloomy. And secondly, all these expectations. So how do you balance?
Irrespective of what we do at various departments or various levels, from thinking of a restaurant, looking at P&L, staffing, hygiene, FSSAI protocols, guest interaction, menu curation, all that, you can keep it on one side, and being a cook is I think on one side. So no matter what you do, stay relevant, guys. Keep cooking and forget about everything else, because that's pure joy. When you cook, it's when I think of something on my laptop, and then when I replicate that on a plate, it's absolutely joyous, and it takes away all the pain that you might have with every other department. Also, what happens is that once the night comes into being, and I'm interacting with my guests, every smile, every compliment, it makes me sleep happy. So no matter how much you have to hustle on a daily basis, how much effort that you need to put, that one statement could make your life. And that's the reason we are in the hospitality industry. It's not a domain for everyone. You need to have a separate skill set to enjoy or to thrive in these conditions. Thankfully, I've also worked with a lot of my team to give them the best working practices, as we call it. I don't like people working 14 hours, be it in the kitchen or be it front of the house. I don't like break shifts. So there is a conscious effort in every restaurant or in every business that I do or I become a part of, that there is a work-life balance between what you do and how much time do you spend on work and while you go back home. And the environment is extremely congenial. And a lot of people take pride. Like, there was a common joke that somebody would take pride 20 years ago that, you know what, I took 2 hoffs on my own wedding. I said, go take a hike if you did that. It's not something to be, proud.
In fact, children used to grow up without seeing their father at times.
It's not something to be proud of any
Only
longer.
on weekends. Weekend fathers.
You need to grow as individuals. You need to evolve as individuals, and for that, work-life balance is a must-have, and it's a conscious effort in everything that I do, that my team stays happy. And when the team stays happy, everything becomes a cakewalk.
Okay. Chef Abhijit, now I think yes.
Sorry, I'd like to add something here. I remember a very common joke amongst us in the early days that शेफ मेरा शादी है, अच्छा ठीक है, ब्रेक शिफ्ट कर रहा है, ब्रेक में शादी करके आ जा.
Yeah, I heard this in my initial days.
I can totally relate to
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So Shivani used to be in
Yeah.
front of the house in Orient Express, and I used to be in the back of the house. And of course, I don't know if you remember that incident of one guest where we had twice a complaint on one of the most important journalistic figures in the country, and
Yes. Oh,
how
yeah.
I was I went inside, and Orient Express is a very small restaurant,
It's a
right?
very intimidating kind of a
And
place.
you go and stand, and everybody is dining very quietly. All of a sudden, the volume of the guests, shouting at the me was like it scared the entire restaurant. They thought there's a bomb blast that has happened or something like that.
Yeah.
I still remember. And
It was-
in good spirit. After that, within 2 minutes, things calmed down, and they made me sit, and while you are in Taj those days, you're not allowed to have a drink at the restaurant,
Oh,
right?
we were very proper.
While you're working, right? So yeah, no, you must have a glass of wine with us and all, because they, I think, were themselves embarrassed, to have created a restaurant into silence, deafened the silence in the restaurant was deafening for them as well.
It is.
So it was an experience, yeah. So a lot of fun, even in positive comments, and sometimes in even in negative comments when you look at it, in retrospect. So yeah, it is good fun. You can never have the same day, because that's what makes it interesting, right? If every day is good, and every day is so nice and
Perfect.
exciting, and every day is full of compliments, it doesn't really make a difference, when you get the right compliment. So I think that that's what I like to say, that when you're a chef, you have the ability to make people happy. So most of the times we enjoy making people happy. So please go ahead with your question.
So I would like to know more about the book, the Capability Cookbook. How did it come into being, and what can we expect from it?
So the Capability Cookbook was conceived around 5 years ago, because I thought that there is a lot of misconception in terms of learnings about the kind of work that I was doing, and not everybody had access to that kind of a work that I was doing. So the best way to take it to the people and bring it for the students and other chefs and college. It's a book for cooks basically. It's a book where you can learn how to open a restaurant and learn the details of cooking. So it has basics to for a professional chef. It has got basic recipes to the most exotic ones. And it is a book that talks about my journey through Spain, and my love for wine, and my passion for wine as well, because as chefs, not too many of them are into wines very much. They may drink it, but the knowledge is not very high. So I had the opportunity to study what you call as enology, and then of course, right from the Orient Express days, there was a lot of emphasis on wines, and then I became the what you call as the president of the Bangalore Wine Club 6 years ago. So Capability Cookbook is a journey of a chef who became an entrepreneur, and how that process happened, how you open a fine dining restaurant and run it for 10 years, how you're under constant scrutiny, what are the mistakes that you make, what are the things that you learn from those mistakes, what are the wonderful recipes that you have created over the years, and how what is the story behind each of those recipes is very, very critical. It is also about the special events. What made Capability special was the special events. A lot of new things that we did there. We were one of the first restaurants to introduce tasting menus on a regular basis in this thing. I don't even want to talk about various aspects of avant-garde cooking and molecular gastronomy, which is popularly known as molecular gastronomy or modernist cooking. And then we are talking about, we did events like Veggie Chic, which is all about vegetables. That is what we did as well. So there was a lot of exciting things. There were so many chefs we collaborated with who came down from different countries to work with us and create special events. So it was a lot of fun. So this is something that I thought should be shared with everybody who wants to be this thing, and without any prejudice. Also, what I wanted to do is that off late in the last 1.5 months. Previously, I used to share some images of dishes and all of that. But now I have started sharing detailed recipes also on my social media. So that gives a lot of authenticity, and that has been very well received. And the difference between this recipe and what you find many other recipes which are on Google, these are all authenticated, and these are all recipes that give you that are slightly more difficult than the regular recipe, but are easy to do at home relatively, and also give you more gratification when you have got it right at the end of the trial. So every day you cook regular things anyway, but to cook something special, makes the entire experience happy. So my idea was to promote cooking with the family, and that is what I started, as one of the things, like 1.5 months ago on social media.
Okay, wonderful. Chef Tarun, what are your future plans? And we were having this conversation how you are intrigued and more and more inclined towards vegetarianism and vegan food. So tell us something about that. How did that switch happen?
Before that, I would want to say to Chef Saha that it makes the two of us. I'm a fellow wine geek, so much so that
Yes, he is.
6 years of my professional life was dedicated to wines. I was working for the French Ministry of Agriculture, promoting French agro, and 90% of French agro is wines. And then I had the opportunity to head sales and marketing for Fratelli Wines in India, which is a prevalent.
That's
And you trained 3,000 people on wine. I was reading.
Yeah, I'm a WSET level 3 myself, and I've trained a lot of hospitality and hospitality staff as well as consumers on wines, and I used to do a session called Cheat Code on Wine. How do you survive a wine conversation wherein you don't know anything about it, but how do you hold your own? It was a fun topic back then. But yeah, as in on the subject of vegetarianism, I'm an extremist. If I like something, I keep repeating it. And when the first lockdown happened, I was into home cooked food, and my mom is a vegetarian, so whatever she would be cooking, I would be eating that. And I never felt the need to go back to meat. Dairy was an integral part of my as you know, I'm a Delhi wala ladka, doodh ghee makhan chahiye hota hai. So couldn't get rid of that. But for 6 months, I was absolutely vegetarian. I saw this series called Game Changers, and it talks about how much water does it consume to have a piece of steak on your plate. And there were so many aspects that you got exposed to. And vegetarian is healthy, it's fresh, and I believe that vegetarians have a highly evolved palate. As chefs also, it's
so
very
much variety, even in
it's very difficult to please vegetarians. You get one chicken dish right, or one lamb right, or one beef steak right, and a non-vegetarian is all gaga. But when you talk to a vegetarian, there is flavors at play, there are textures at play, there is viscosity. There's so much happening with them. They have such a world. So it gave me a lot of insight to work with vegetables, and I was eating healthy, lost a bit of weight also during those 6 months. But you know what? I met my match. When I traveled to Bangalore in September, I dined at Karavali, and I couldn't do without it. I ordered my first prawn dish, and that's been the end of it. But
living
now
in Goa also, otherwise, how can you stay away from
but
the
a lot of my menus have there's a fair share of vegetarianism in the menu, and exotic and or avant-garde, as chef was pointing. So much so that Street Stories is a completely vegetarian restaurant, and we get so much love for what we do there. And Street Stories again was conceived over a bowl of Morning Glory in Pattaya. Me, Chef Nishant, and Akshay were celebrating something over, and we were having Morning Glory, and we said that when we do something new in Bangalore, it should be a vegetarian restaurant only, but our take on vegetarianism.
Wonderful. Now, Chef John has to leave a little earlier, but I don't want to let him go without my rapid fire round. So I hope you're all ready with your cups of tea. Relax.
For a while, yeah, sure.
What tea do you like, John?
Well,
tea?
it's a regular black tea.
Okay.
I'm not a
Tarun?
coffee drinker. I only drink tea, black tea.
Tarun, what do you like? What are you
I'm a coffee guy. I'm a coffee guy. I'm having cola now. I'm a Diet Coke fanatic, but I love my coffee.
Chef Abhijit?
For me, it is Darjeeling tea. That's where I come from. And,
Okay.
we always drink Darjeeling tea in the morning. And it is such a thing. My wife is from North India, but it's very few families that who drink in North India Darjeeling tea because they are used to drinking their, masala chai
With
style.
milk and sugar, lots of all
But
that.
surprisingly, her father was in the army and they have inculcated this habit of drinking only Darjeeling tea. So for me, Darjeeling tea is the number one choice as far as any non-alcoholic beverage is concerned. And I can't do myself without a cup of good Darjeeling tea in the morning.
Excellent. So, Chef John, be ready for your rapid fire. I'm going to fire some questions at you before you go. Your favorite cuisine? Name
Middle
one.
Eastern.
Which one?
Middle Eastern.
Okay. A dish you are most proud of creating?
Dark country.
Okay. If you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
Dog.
You love
Nope.
dogs.
Yeah.
A holiday destination on your bucket list?
If it's India, it's Goa. If not, then it's Dubai. Always do.
Okay. A chef you admire the most?
Gordon Ramsay.
If a movie was made on your life, what genre would it be and who would play you?
Dhoni.
Who?
Dhoni. Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Yeah.
Okay. I think you got it a bit wrong.
Yeah, in a different
The movie
aspect
would be
because
on
that's
you.
yeah.
Okay. The most useful kitchen equipment, according to you?
Knife.
One food you detest?
Sorry, come again.
One food you detest, you don't like at all? Any food?
Coffee. Yeah. Sashimis.
Okay, raw. I think that would be it. If whenever you have to go, you can go. Thanks for coming and joining us and making this conversation more and more exciting. He's a busy person. He's addressing new, I think, students from IHM today.
Yeah, yeah, and I got an event also, so I'm in hotel now. So I'm going to stay tonight. Before I leave, I just want to say
With social
Chef Abhijit. Yeah, I met Chef Abhijit once in 2010 in Muscat, in Crown Plaza, Muscat. You remember with Chef Girish Nair. So I was in the office, we're discussing about Avanga, how you will do the pop-up dining in my outlet. But I left before you done that. So I left and I came back to India. So
I didn't remember that. Huh? I didn't know that at all.
it is quite obvious, Chef. You will not remember. You meet so many people.
No.
For me, meeting you
He was
physically,
so happy,
discussing.
that he said, I
Exactly.
don't want
I was
to
very
miss this.
excited discussing about the menu, about avant-garde. You were explaining me. Of course, 10 years back, I was 10 years younger, so it was very exciting for me. And then, unfortunately, I had to move from Muscat, came back to India. But yeah, ever since I was following you.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, and Tarun. Yeah, I keep watching your Instagram
And
post.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you.
But I'll
Let's
sign up.
plan some good events.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Now over to Chef Abhijit, your rapid fire round. Your favorite breakfast? Favorite breakfast?
Favorite?
Breakfast.
Sorry?
Breakfast.
My favorite breakfast. Okay. I love so. Hey, it's supposed to be rapid fire, right? It has to be egg and toast.
Just one dish. Okay. 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 If you were stranded on an island, what 5 ingredients would you take along?
I would like to take a lot of vegetables. Fish is automatically available from there. Maybe some grains. And of course, I'd like to take some saffron with me to prepare some exotic paella, seafood paella, of course. So yeah, these are some of the things that I'd like to take with me.
Okay. The first dish you cooked for your wife?
For my wife,
Yes.
Did I ever cook for my wife? I'm not sure.
Okay. You are
I
just
don't
telling
know.
very. Okay. Wow.
That
That's
is
some.
long ago. This is a very good question to ask. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, maybe a risotto or something like that. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, mushroom
Tell us,
risotto.
sure. Tell us one thing about you that no one knows.
Oh my God, you want to know the secrets? I had many girlfriends.
Really? So sweet. Okay. A food trend you don't understand. A food
I
trend.
still have many
Okay. A food trend you don't understand.
food trend. The different diets that we talk about. I understand vegetarianism, I understand vegan, of course, I understand plant based, but I don't understand diets like keto, paleo, and all of these things. I only believe in balanced diet. And I have given up meat myself, not because of any other reason. 3 years ago, I'm 90% vegetarian right now.
Okay,
I
wow.
only eat fish once in a while, but I don't understand these concept of different diets that become fads over a period of time. Yeah.
Your favorite lockdown activity.
My favorite lockdown activity. That was drinking a single malt, appreciating my collection of single malt with my father-in-law when he was here, and he was stuck with us for 4 months, his ex-army. We enjoyed a single malt, only one drink per day of different kinds that I've collected over a period of years, which I don't get to enjoy much and didn't get
You
much
didn't
time.
get time
It was
much.
one of those
Okay, great. I think you did
activities.
pretty well, Chef. Now,
Do we have a Do we have a hamper in the end for the winner? Do we have like a
no, I'll take you out for dinner. Whoever wins.
yes? Game on.
Lockdown dinner.
So, Tarun, a holiday destination on your bucket list.
Malta.
Describe yourself in 3 adjectives.
Too much to say.
Still, 3 words.
True. I don't know.
Lost the hamper,
Extravagant.
Tarun.
Creative,
Creative.
stylish.
I think humble.
I think you're one of the most well-dressed chefs in India.
I'll take that as a compliment. I think chefs. There's a lot of imagery at play. There is. I wear my brands on my sleeve, and it's always nice to look good.
Present.
I agree with Shivani, but you lost the hamper, Tarun.
Okay.
All yours, chef.
Okay. What is the strangest thing you've eaten?
I'm not a big fan of escargots, but I have eaten those. So yeah.
Tell us one thing no one knows about you.
I hate to cook up for myself. I don't do that ever.
Oh, that's surprising. Okay. One dish you cook that your son loves eating.
Pancakes.
Great. Okay. If a movie was to be made on your life, what genre would it be? And who would play you?
It has to be a rom-com, and Mark Ruffalo or Hugh Jackman.
Wow, you've got all worked out. A chef you admire the most?
I like what Jamie Oliver does, both on with food and outside of it as well.
Okay. Favorite restaurant in the world other than your own restaurants?
Favorite restaurant in the world? There are many, but I like Olive a lot. It has a lot of fond memories for me.
Chef Abhijit, I wanted to ask you also your favorite restaurant.
My favorite restaurant, the French Laundry.
The French Laundry has to be. Okay.
By Thomas
Continuing with Tarun. God, what am I doing? Where is the worst place you could get stuck?
Worst place that you could put stuck? I don't know. Depends upon, am I stuck there alone or with someone? But jokes aside, I think in an elevator, that's quite
Okay. Great. What is the one thing that annoys you the most in the kitchen?
When when you lose your guard, in the sense when you're not following something to the T. I'm very, very anal about quality and procedure. So if you and I do this by choice, as in suddenly out of nowhere I'll come into the kitchen and ask for what's been get out of purity, and I'll ask for that pan that I'll cook this dish. And if there are 14 ingredients that the dish needs, sometimes the team will only have 12, and I will rip them apart. That how can I cook with something that needs 14 ingredients with just 12? It's my way of quality enhancement, management, whatever. And it's a nice exercise to reclaim your arena.
Great. I think that was wonderful. It is a tie, of course, and I'll have to take all of you out for dinner next time. We're in the same city, which most likely should be Bangalore.
Yeah.
Let's hope for better times ahead. And any last words you would like to give for our viewers, Chef Abhijit?
So I think this has been a fun interview. Thank you very much. It was nice talking to the young chefs here.
Yes.
I think we must, stay mentally agile and creative, even in difficult times, to make sure that we stay happy.
Wonderful. Tarun, anything you would like to add to that?
Guys, stay safe, stay healthy, be with the family, be surrounded with your loved ones. Spend this time wisely. Go back to things that you have missed out on. And once all of this is behind us, we'll be back to good times. We'll be back to travel. We'll be back to eating out, dining out, back to hospitality, back to what we do. So just stay put for a while, and then everything is going to turn around very soon.
Great. Those are wonderful words. So hang in there, viewers. We will be back. We all will be back at our favorite restaurants, eating out of the hands of our favorite chefs. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us over.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Nice.